All right. Apartment growing. The second video in the series. Just kind of want to prepare, walk through, talk through the planning, what needs to be considered, right? So we spoke to what you need. You need soil, you need light, you need water, and you need wind, right? So in the apartment, what we are doing is we're simulating what it is that happens outside, right? And we're just providing those same elements to the plant in the way that they want. So I have, as you see, my grow areas, right? They're housed in a tent, right? I have light fixture that has 16 bulbs, T5 lighting, right? 16 bulbs here, T5 lighting. The lights are fluorescent, so they're very cool. I can touch them. I can put them right down on the plant, right? And the plant wants that. You want to throw the light right onto that plant. The reflective walls and ceilings and floors push that light all the way back to the plant, so no light is lost in this environment. Plus, I have the fan keeping those leaves blowing, moving, so that the carbon dioxide is made available to them where they need it. And it's a really nice tent. Then I have my seedlings. Can you see? Yeah, I have my seedlings. I'm growing quinoa, Brussels sprouts, red beets, and tomatoes there. Okay. And so, but again, in apartments, you don't necessarily have the space to do that, right? And when we're talking about limited space, how do you grow enough food to be able to sustain yourself and your family? So I spoke to and mentioned a shoe tree, right? And this is very simply connected to the top of a door, okay? Now, what I also needed to be considerate of is that if we're talking about an apartment, then you don't own it and you don't want to damage the property, right? It would be irresponsible of me to tell you to simply hang a light up there, and affix things to the ceiling and damage the property. So I had to think of, how do we do that? How do you get your lighting without permanently damaging the property and costing yourself and the homeowner something down the line, right? So what I determined was the easiest way to do that, because again, what we have to do is we have to throw light. Light has to be delivered to each of these nodes, right? Each of these will be nodes. Each of these pockets will hold gravel and potting soil, right? Gravel and potting soil into each pocket. You need light to hit each of those nodes. Okay, we'll call these nodes, right? So the light needs to offset a little bit and be delivered down. So how do we do that, right? Without damaging the home, without damaging the property, how do we install this light? What I'm going to suggest is that you use Velcro, right? A Velcro strap. Now, we're not going to count on simply the adhesive associated with the Velcro. No. We're going to put the Velcro up, and we're going to put 4 nails into the Velcro. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 small nails. That's very easy. When you determine that you want to move, you can take joint compound, hit it one time, it's done. The holes are gone. Okay, so that's nothing. We'll put 4 holes, but we're going to do the Velcro in a loop. Okay? And then what you'll do is you'll strap your light to the loop. Okay? And when we speak about the light type, right, it's again it's going to be a T5 light. And I don't know what you're looking at, if you can see that. But this is the basic principle, where the T5 light is suspended, right? And able to provide that lighting for each of those nodes. Okay? Then, what you're also going to want to do is, so this has, kind of a plastic backing. But my guess is that it isn't waterproof, and you're going to water these plants. So I would, on the back of this, hang maybe plastic bags, right? Plastic bags, so that we can protect the door And again, protect the property. We want to grow, right? The real point behind growing is to provide sustenance for ourselves. But we want to do so efficiently. We want to do so economically, right? All of these things need to factor. And so we're going to recycle, right? We're going to compost. And I'm going to show you how to compost fish and bones and fruit and coffee grinds and all of those different things and produce a tea which is full of nutrients for your plants and will give them what they need. So we're going to eliminate the amount of waste that we're generating, and we're going to grow food, okay? And so to that end, we also need to be cognizant of our impact, right? So that would mean the door. We don't want to impact the door. We don't want to impact the house. We don't want to impact the structure, right? And so what we want to also consider is some sort of a catchment at the bottom, right? We're not going to, it's not going to be pouring water from here, but there is water. We're dealing with water. So we want to have some sort of a catchment at the bottom of this, and we should affix it right to the bottom so it never even interferes with the flow of traffic, right? And going in and out of the room doesn't impact that. So we want to affix something to catch the water right at the bottom of this, and we'll do that, right? We'll figure out a way of kind of putting sort of like a pouch or something to catch that water that might run off from these plants. Now, what about the medium? In this case, the medium that we're going to use is soil, right? You're in my unfinished attic, by the way, so don't be alarmed by the unfinished nature of the wood and like that. Okay. But in the attic, in the wintertime, heat rises, right? So this stays very warm. I insulated it. It stays very warm. It's perfect for the plants. I can control the environment. So for growth, it's perfect. Every winter I grow, right? So the soil that I use a very good soil. It's expensive, but it is the best soil. I don't use Miracle Grow or any of those soils that have time-released nutrients. Those are very dangerous. You don't know what they are, and you don't really have control over your plants, right? It's not really good. It's kind of like growing 101 is what that is. I use a soil called Fox Farm, right? Oceans Forest. It has within it already earthworm castings and Mexican bat guano. It's a very balanced soil. It is base. It's got perlite in it. It's very light and drains well. It's a really good soil. And so that's what I use. And when I transplant into outdoors, even in my outdoors, I fill that with Fox Farm Ocean Forest. So I'm using this soil the whole grow time. Okay, so that's a really good soil to use, and that's what we're going to use for this project. I've got, as I said, I collect seeds like people collect Jordans, right? And so I've got a lot of heirloom seeds, and so we're going to plant a bunch of herbs, right? I've got mugwort, I've got everything, right? Lavender. We're gonna plant a lot of different herbs in this shoe tree, and we're gonna grow these together. But again, what I wanted to do was just quickly walk through construction of your grow station. Okay, construction of your grow station. These are mesh. They breathe well, and these will serve perfectly to grow our herbs. Okay. If you have more space, again, certainly different sized grow tents will allow you to do a lot. I can propagate pretty much everything that I want in my smaller tent and give it the light timings that it needs, and have a separate chamber for my more mature plants, and again, care for them in the way that they need. So in an apartment, as many doors as you have is as many different grow sites as you can produce. What are you going to need? You're going to need electricity for your light. You're going to have to hang your light. You're going to need to put a backing on this so that it doesn't damage the door. You're going to need the catchment at the bottom so that you can catch any runoff water. and we're in the game. So I'm gonna go and grab some gravel this week, and once I get some gravel, I'm gonna put about a third gravel into each of these. I'm going to soak down my soil. I soak my soil for 24 hours. I soak it for 24 hours. And when I say soak it, I mean in a 24-hour period, I probably fill the pot up that is holding the water 15 times. I fill it completely and I let that water drain out. I make sure that my soil is perfectly soaked, every single bit of it, before I use it. And then at that point, I'll drop my seeds in. I usually sprout my seeds. You can sprout them by putting them into a paper towel that's wet, and you can put the seed in between that paper towel, fold it over, put it into a dark place, and leave it for a couple of days. It'll sprout. It'll pop, right? That seed will open up. You can then take that seed, put it down into your soil, and you begin growing. So, again, we've spoken about the soil. We've spoken about how to hang that light so it's not a permanent fixture and you don't damage the property. We've spoken about composting. We're going to get a composting bin. We're going to speak through composting so that you can create your own nutrient and diminish the amount of waste that you produce on a daily, weekly basis. And again, we're going to go ahead and grow. I'll fill these with gravel and we'll go forward and we'll grow. Okay? Hopefully it helps. Watch for the next one. We'll get into it. We're going to grow some food in the apartment food like that.